Good morning and welcome to the Up Zone, where understanding politics is made simple. We are your two hosts, Mr. Elmer Floyd, former House Representative for the 43rd District in the state of North Carolina, and myself,
Thank you
Tisha
so
S.
much.
Waddell. Oh, for sure. Tisha S. Waddell, former City Council Representative for the 3rd District in the city of Fayetteville, and current candidate for mayor in the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Mr. Floyd, how are you,
Yes.
sir?
I'm doing good, Tish. I'm doing good. And thank you for asking me. And I got about 12 days before my creditors can start back calling me. Because Brightspeed said that they'll have my hard line fixed by the 19th of this month. So
Okay.
thank you. I got 12 more days. They can't reach me. So I'm doing fine.
Well, Mr. Floyd, I'm
I'm
glad
doing
to hear that.
That's speed
Um,
now, T. That's speed. That's speed and service now. Okay. Now that's good service.
yeah, I'm glad to hear that you are doing well and that it's only another what
12
seven
days.
six that's ridiculous.
But that's good
That's
service,
ridiculous.
though. That's what I'm trying to tell you. See, you don't appreciate. That's one of your problems. You don't appreciate good services. See, now the service may be bad for you, but it's good for me. I got 12 days. See,
So
they can't reach me.
what you doing without a house phone, Mr. Floyd?
I don't use it anyway.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
I don't
Well,
use it
why do
anyway. I
you?
mean,
I'm gonna ask you like Larry asked me because see, he keeps telling me that we should just cancel the house phone, and I'm like, I'm keeping it. I don't even have my house phone turned on the ringer. Like the ringer is off, but I have it in case I need it. But I'm gonna ask
yeah.
you why you even got it if you don't use it
Well, certain systems require you to have access to a
to a home phone, a
line.
landline.
Yes,
Hmm.
certain system. I mean, it
Yeah,
does not use the system per se, but it's part of their system that they use to connect with.
I got you. Mr. Floyd, I'm sitting here and I know this is completely irrelevant to our podcast, but I just want to say this. I'm sitting here and I just caught a glimpse of myself and I saw my grandmother's face. And I just my family has some strong genes. If you see one of us, you see all of us. And I saw her face and it just made my heart warm because my grandmother's been gone for a few years, but I looked at me and I saw her. Floyd, you ever look at you and see your children or your people?
I fed them enough, T.
Yeah, yeah. If you feed them,
I
they
mean,
start to look like you.
I fed them enough. They started looking like me.
That's
I
the
mean,
truth. Now, Mister,
I mean, that's what they say in our culture. You feed
that's
them, they'll
and it's
start
the
looking like
truth. You feed them, they start looking like you. Mr. Floyd, what announcements do you have for our community today?
well, one teach the NAACP is having their banquet as we announced before at Iron Mike on the 13th
Hmm.
of September at 1 o'clock. So, contact the members there to see if you can get a ticket. They'll welcome your presence there to help them continue to keep their doors open. And the
Yeah,
other thing too, there is a community meeting I think on the 18th of this month reference rezoning, and that is rezoning a property on Murchison. I mean, I'm sorry, on Rose Hill Road that
hmm.
abuts Gola Drive,
Let me put.
the
I want to
creek
put that.
divided.
Let me put that up so that the people can see that one. Hold on, Mr. Floyd, while we talk about that, because I want you to just sort of kind of fill our audience in because a lot of people don't know what's going on with this. So fill the people in.
Well, there's a piece of property. I think it's like 21 or 22 acres of land that the
Hmm.
developer want to develop, and he can build 180 plus units, but what he wants to build is 230 plus units.
Okay.
That's greater than what the ordinance. I mean, what the ordinance statute requires. So it requires the approval of the city council. The joint planning board denied the request. So the company paid the money to appeal before the city council, and that's on August the 28th. The community meeting is the 18th of August at Seabrook Rec Center, showing that the community can know what's in Zone A and what can be in Zone B.
Yeah.
There now, one thing that the city does is that city, when they look at annexation, they talking about future land use. But when
Hmm.
we look at future land use, we fail to look at where, in this case, where the water is going to go and the flooding that sometime take place. And I think I sent you a picture of
You want me to put
of
that up?
yes, please.
Too easy. Hold on, let me put that up for you. Because that
So,
is that's the
yes,
backbone of why this conversation is important, right?
it's
Okay, let me
critical
get that one up for you.
now.
Tell me when you see it, Floyd.
Okay, I see it. That's
Okay.
that's at the end of Golo Drive.
This is
If
in
you see
somebody's
that,
backyard, Mr. Floyd.
yes,
And
yes.
I've been to this property about 5 years ago, and there's a significant amount of erosion taking place in their backyard because of this creek or stream that is not cleared out and that just continues to eat away at their property line.
But if you look at this picture very carefully, you see three or four trees that's laying across the creek. Now
Mm-hmm.
imagine that if another tree with limbs on it and leaves move towards that, it's gonna slow the flow of the water because the creek is
Right.
not clean, and it's gonna require flooding.
Which
So what
causes
we're
the
saying,
water to back up every time you have a
back up.
heavy rain event, which causes that backyard to flood and could potentially, in the event of a significant storm, could cause some flooding to transpire.
And what we have to look at now, you might not think about it, but we have global warming, which we have a much more rain, and believe me, it's much more harder. I never seen on the news today, each time that there's a news broadcast, just even yesterday, that X community is in a flood watch for X period of time. So that's
Right.
the problem that we face. We do not look at the infrastructure that is needed, but we allow the building to take place, but we don't look at the infrastructure. And that's one of the things that Fayetteville lack. That's
Right.
just
And
my
one of and Mr. Floyd was so significant about this conversation. While I was at National Night Out, I was in I visited my mom's National Night Out. She did it big. She had a good time. And if you want a good laugh, Mr. Floyd, I'm gonna send you a video because Councilman Mario Benavente helped my mom set up her National Night Out, and he went down one of complete tangent. He went down one of the bouncy houses, and it was just like such lighthearted, joyous fun. I'm gonna send you that video. You'll get a good laugh.
mhm.
But and he looked like he was having a ball. But the reality is you've got citizens who are reaching out to the city to find out who's supposed to clean these culverts, who's supposed to clean these dams, who's supposed to cut back this vegetation, and the city is saying it's not our property. And then they're reaching out to PwC, and PwC is saying it's not ours, and then they're telling them reach out to the railroad saying it's not ours. So there's this constant shift or juggling to figure out whose responsibility is it, and it's ending up falling on the property owner because no agency or entity is taking ownership. But what property owner has equipment to dredge out a creek or to go in
Well,
and clear out a stormwater culvert?
well, Tish, one thing I think hurricane season starts this month or next month. One now, I was walking in Walmart the other day, and I was looking at those drones that
Mm-hmm.
that Walmart sells. It's like $179.
Mm-hmm.
That one. And I know that's one that there's something that the city can use to evaluate its creeks prior to hurricane season to
Right.
look at where the possibility may be that will cause flooding.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, now, if you back to that picture, the tree was cut off to the property owner, which there's a white fence. So
Mm-hmm.
the fence part, when the tree fell over that part, the owner cut that off because that's where
Right.
her property stopped at.
Right.
Okay. So that means that once she cut that off,
The
that
tree is
nice
just
young
in the
okay, so that once they cut the tree, that means that that resident had to find someone to cut the tree and then haul it off.
yes,
But
sir. And that is not cheap. That is not
no,
cheap. Yeah.
no. So but the tree is still there. But the tree fell from the other property line that requesting to build 200 plus houses. Now remind you now, the tree that fell come from erosion from the property that you want to build 200 plus units. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that what we have to look at. Yes, build, but we also got to look at where is this water going to go. If you're going to build 200 and plus unit, Madam Waddell, it's going to require 200 plus parking. And all that parking, Madam Waddell, requires asphalt. Okay. And I have yet to see asphalt contain water.
And
Okay.
Mr. Floyd,
It's
the
going
other
somewhere.
the absolutely, and there are some significant um improvements that have been made to how we can make our streets, but they cost more, and most builders are not interested in that expense. Like there is a permeable surface that you can build sidewalks and streets from that the water absorbs back into the ground, but it's more expensive and people don't want to deploy that mechanism. And here's what I think that the city might want to start doing, requiring that in these areas where there are stormwater issues. If it's permissible to build, it should come with a caveat that where there is a flooding issue or where there is significant water runoff, you have to use those
Well,
those surfaces that are permeable in order to be able to not cause the water to pool and stagnate. Because just building these retention ponds or detention ponds, that's not the answer.
well, I give you, I now, if you build units near what the word used is, it is believed to be in a floodplain area. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now the word is believe. So
Mm-hmm.
when you buy a homeowner, when you get homeowner insurance, that's one policy, and then there's this flooding policy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So who benefits from that, whether the house is sold or not, is the city.
Right. Mr.
Okay.
Floyd, one of our viewers asked if we can drop the flyer in the chat. Do you mind if I put that in the chat?
No, please do.
Okay. Okay. I'll go ahead and drop it now.
It's critical. It's critical. I mean, this zoning is an effect of the city as it's developed. If you have a zoning plan, don't keep changing the zoning to accommodate the wishes of the builder. You have to stop and look at your zoning, your overall zoning.
Right. Well, Mr. Floyd, I,
Yes.
I don't I don't disagree, but let's talk about another while we're going through our announcements. Let's talk about another rezoning issue that's on the table. Where there's the issue that's going on at 7-Eleven. Mr. Floyd, what's the status of that particular rezoning issue?
Well, only thing that I know, and I haven't, you know, they said it's going to be at the corner of Rose Hill Road and 401 bypass. But if you look at
But
that,
that's
that
a different one. That's a different one, Floyd. So you talking about the
okay,
one that's up here by my way, right?
yes.
So now
The other
this one
one,
is different. This one is down by the library, from what I'm
okay.
understanding, on
Now
Rose
that
Hill
one
Road.
is going to be on that one. I think is up. I think it's the 11th. Is the 11th of August that
It's
that's going to be
it's the
here.
11th of August.
August
Mm-hmm.
that is going to be here, and the beauty of this again, Tish, is the city long range plan that they say that is fit the city long range plan. Now, if you look at this 7-Eleven, it's located right at one of the busiest intersections that's coming off 295. There's
Right.
a library, there's a shopping center, and then there's a Circus K, and there's a house there wherein that the zoning is required, right in front of a neighborhood. Now the
Right.
thing about it, we
And that's
already
what the
got
people that's what the people are upset about. They're saying the traffic is already
it's
hellacious in this
bad.
area. Yeah, and you're getting ready to dump more traffic. Right.
Yes. Now there is no what I've seen. There is no improvement. Well, let me say improvement for this area was in 2007 long range plan from the Department of Transportation. Now, and that was you see that was some 20, just about 20 years ago
Right.
for the
Right.
improvement. But there's none unless the Department of Transportation would take it out of uh, 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 some of their continuance fund to do some
Mm-hmm.
improvement. But the
Mm-hmm.
improvement would not be a drastic large improvement to move that traffic because
Mm-hmm.
295, you got those person who was using MacArthur Road, Rose Hill Road, and then I think it's Stacey Weaver Road once it crosses over there. It's gonna be a nightmare. Now, now remind you now, Madam Waddell, it won't be four pumps. Okay, it will not be 4 pumps. If you look at Circle K, they have about 12 to 16 pumps.
Right.
And then you look at now when a car is stopped, and look at all the fumes, look at the traffic, look at the debris that is going to cause. So the city need to start thinking about this, where they when person requesting a zoning, yes, it's gonna increase the city tax base, which they need, but at the same time, you are decreasing the tax base of the property that's around there because now I don't know if it's seven. Many of these convenience stores stay open 24/7.
Right. Right. And well, then let me say, well, 7-Eleven, I don't know their hours of operation, but I will tell you this, Mr. Floyd. I remember one of the arguments that was being made by the attorney who was representing the this project was that it was an option
Don't tell me, please.
for
No,
fresh food.
I mean,
But Mr. Floyd, this is
how
what
in the
blows my
world?
mind. It's right across the street from a Food Lion. So you don't need 7-Eleven fresh food when you're in walking distance of a
Wait.
legitimate grocery store. Like that
Wait.
argument is just
Are
ridiculous.
you
But
talking
go
about
ahead.
hot dogs and hamburger? Are you talking about hot dogs and
Maybe they're
hamburger?
talking about the apple slices. I don't know. I don't know. But
I mean, because those things are heavy in sodium. But I mean, fact what he said was a food desert, something of that neighborhood.
how is it a
So
food desert if you're right across the street from Food Lion?
what Tish, I recall somebody
Or
that said to
or
me,
if not literally right across the street, like,
but
and then
Tish,
right up the street you got Aldi.
but you had to be, you had to look at sound bites.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
make good sound bites,
yeah.
and people buy into sound bites without really looking at reality.
Right.
Okay, but it sounds good, you know. But this is what the city need to look at. You can't keep changing your zoning each time somebody wants to request a zone. There's many other places already zoned for this type of a commercial resident. I mean,
Right.
this type of commercial development. But
And
they
Mr.
look
Floyd,
at it number.
I'm not opposed to 7-Eleven. I don't want anybody thinking that. I
No,
think 7-Eleven has great slushies. But I think you have to listen to your community and your constituency. And when you ignore or disregard what they're saying, you tell them that how they feel doesn't matter. And you tell
well,
them
that's
that you're more interested in what the builders and the developers have to say. But I do want to say this because I think it's important, because this is where we get stuck at, and we are the ones who are trying to make understanding politics simple. I don't know if this is a straightforward rezoning request, or if this is a special use permit. But if anybody's listening and you're following this story, in the event that this is a special use permit, special use permits are decided almost like the way a court case is decided. You have to meet specific findings of fact. And if the person who is asking for this rezoning can prove that they've met those findings of fact, the council is prohibited from denying their zoning. They must approve the zoning. So what you want to do, if you are a member of this community, if this is a special use permit, I've not looked to see, but if it is in the community, you want to go find you a realtor or an attorney that will come in and will present information factually that refutes whatever they may say establishes these findings of fact. And the findings of fact are publicly
what
available.
you got to look at it. Many of these communities cannot afford what you just
These
mentioned
communities have
because
lawyers living in them and they have realtors living in them. Go snatch you somebody up and ask them to put together a presentation to refute this.
you're right. You're right.
I'm
You're
just
right in
saying.
that particular. I'm, but again, mine is beyond that. Many times that the zoning board deny a request and they appeal before the city council, utilizing and looking at who makes the presentation to the city council, which I don't blame a lot of corporations for looking among the attorneys to see who they can get to provide them some assistance in rezoning, to make it a rezoning request. I don't
Yeah.
blame them for that. You know.
Well, What else you got before we bring our guest in? Because we have a
no,
special guest today, Mr. Floyd. We have Mr. Wade Fowler coming on today, and I'm gonna be dropping off so that you guys can talk election stuff.
well, thank you, Madam Rada. I think we have about 20 to 30 minutes to talk about that, and I think you're gonna come back in after then. Make sure that
I
we
don't know.
can
We'll
make
see.
sure.
No, that you guys can get out of here.
Yeah, yeah, but we want to make sure that we can close out, properly
Hmm.
there. But it's all right that you don't jump into the conversation.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna actually
Okay.
walk away. I'm gonna walk away, because I want this to be fair and even. And Mr. Floyd, it's funny because somebody said, and I'm still not gonna say your name today. How about that? Somebody said you never say my name on your podcast, which I think is a fallacy because I think I've talked about this person several times on the podcast. But now I'm going to be very deliberate and I'm going to make sure that I don't, because if that is the accusation, I want to make sure that whatever they're mad at me about, that I make it true for them so that it's not just conjecture. No, that's not really the case. But I don't feel like Mr. Floyd, I was taught that you don't talk about about other people that want the same job you want
Well,
because you're not trying to give them your
well,
platform. Like, is
well,
that wrong,
teacher.
Floyd?
No, no, I'm not gonna give you no free advertisement.
But
But
that's
I
why
don't
I'm
see
going to
many
step away
people.
and let you guys have this conversation because I think it's fair and our viewers do want to hear a take on it. But I'm not about to. First of all, I don't want to talk bad about anybody that's running. But secondly, I don't want to be involved in that.
No. Well, let us. Now, Wade is a Republican, and I am a Democrat, and this
Yeah.
race is nonpartisan.
Yeah.
So we should have a good conversation as it relates to the structure of the race and as it relates to Democrat, Republican, and unaffiliated,
Right.
because
Right.
it's a
Now, Mr.
nonpartisan race.
It sure is. Now, Mr. Floyd, let me ask you this. What are you thinking in terms of what and not specific candidates, but what are you thinking in terms of what our viewers really need to be paying attention as we move through this election cycle? Because there's a lot of flashpoints right now and a lot of what we'll call the sound bites where people are really stuck in one lane of conversation. But what do you think that people need to be paying attention to as this election cycle progresses?
Issues and not sound bites.
Yeah.
Like for instance, what are you truly is going to do, and how are you going to get the support from your other council members
From the other
in
9
order
members of
to,
council?
in order to move whatever agenda. See, your agenda is a good agenda, but it's involved 6 members also to support your agenda and
Yeah,
changes. See, one person can't make a change on the council. One
right.
person can't make a change on the county board of commission. It must be a combination of at least one plus a majority.
Yeah.
So that's
Let me
what
ask
it
you a
takes.
question. Have you ridden down Rose Hill Road since they've installed these two roundabouts?
I wish I had the $2.5 million. I, I I wish I had that. And because
Mr.
time my
Mr.
truck,
Floyd, why did you just why'd you laugh?
because it's $2.5 million that I wish I could have had. Because time my truck moved into the entrance, off a subdivision, I'm already in the other traffic lane. So we got a problem with the car also in middle way of the traffic lane.
Right.
I mean, it's
I
it's a
was
it's a
look, I was coming out and I kept telling Larry, I was like, Larry, this traffic circle is problematic. This is not good. I said there are going to be accidents because it's too congested. So, Mr. Floyd, we were coming out, and Larry's like, "No, it's good, it's good." We were coming out. This lady almost ran smack dab into us. I said, "See, like it's not it's not
it's not
effective.
it's not no. I
Somebody is
mean,
going to
like I
get
said,
hurt."
I just wished I had the $2.5 million to build those two traffic circles.
Look, I still come to when I come to the traffic circle, I still stop like it's a stop sign. I'm gonna watch everybody else before I go, Floyd. And I told Larry, and this man just shook his head at me like I didn't know what I was doing. And I looked at him like, you go ahead, because this a cluster right here.
I just wish I had the $2.5 million because I also put down some sidewalks that I will never mind.
Yeah.
Let
Anyhow,
me talk.
like I said, Wade will
It,
be coming on shortly, and you guys can have that conversation.
what
Y'all
a
can talk
waste.
about
We
that.
wasted money. We wasted money put the sidewalk and we dug them up. Now we wasted $2.5 million to put a circle.
Yeah, and
But
it just we just keep on keeping on, don't we? We just keep
yeah,
on keeping on. Mr. Floyd, what else we got in terms of announcements while we wait on our
no,
guests to come in today?
that is it. Sis. I'm eager to talk with Wade to see
I
what
know he
he.
said 10 o'clock, so we got about 4 more minutes because
Okay.
he said 10.
Well, also, there was a conversation with a possibly changing Honeycutt rec center as a early voting site, and the city of Fayetteville agreed to pay the $40,000 in order to keep the site open. Keep the site as an early voting site, and it came out. I think it was 3-2, and now it takes the state board of election to determine which site would it be. Would it be Honeycutt or Cliffdale Rec Center?
Mm-hmm.
And that
Mm-hmm.
goes to the state board of election. Now, what you had to remember at the state board of election is 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats. Now
And
go
this
back.
goes back to what we've been talking about all along. It goes back to
uh,
what we've been talking about this for years, Mr. Floyd, about you need to understand how these elections affect long-term
uh,
decision making. Go ahead,
well,
sir.
that's what happened. See, and the Democrats had what they call a council or state PAC that
Okay.
fund council or state members that's running for a statewide office. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was that Holmes ran for state auditor. Now, the Democrat Party put its money behind Josh Stein and did not give 3 of their candidates any of that 40+ million that came
Mm-hmm.
from that stack for that PAC fund. Now they
Right.
are complaining about the way that the auditor is funding what is looking at the state board of election, which they are saying now that they want to certify. One article I read said 10,000 Cumberland County hadn't filled the application out correctly. Now it's down to
Mm-hmm.
3,000. But nevertheless, there's changes. So you appealing it to the state because it was a 3-2 vote, and it must be a 5-0 vote, if you understand.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So
Yeah,
that's a
because I was a
that's
little confused about that because the article kept saying that they reached a stalemate. And I was like, how do you reach a stalemate if you have 5 members? But then when you told me it has to be and see, this is why we need people to educate us. And I'm not above being educated because then you taught me that you need a unanimous vote. So it has to be all
yes.
5 members. Okay.
So it goes before a board, which you're already outnumbered. Okay, and so I'll let
Right.
you think about where the zoning, where this poll would be come November, even if they want to accept the $40,000 that the city has to pay for. And that's why it goes back to is that if the council want to do something, they ought to change the election to even years instead of odd years, where it
Mr.
won't
Floyd, I
cost the
want you to say
taxpayer.
why they. I'm not even gonna let you finish that statement. We've said it too many times. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to tell the people why that's not happening.
Well, because you get a lower voter turnout in odd year elections.
And how does
It's
that benefit the people who are running for office?
those that are sitting there benefit.
Because you only have to play to a small deck instead of a
Yeah,
big deck. Hmm.
that's why
And
it
I'll tell you,
should.
look, and I'm gonna tell you honestly, as a candidate who ran for office in a district versus a candidate who's running citywide, it's a different ball game when you have to talk
Yeah,
to the whole city versus just your district. Mr. Floyd,
and
my hat is off
okay,
to all of you who have run these statewide or countywide or these. My hat's off to you guys because
it's a
this
different
is a
race.
different, completely,
It's different
completely.
because it's like it is now. I think we have 90,000, so I'm gonna say 100,000 registered voters in the city of Fayetteville. You
Can you
got 10
imagine
candidates.
knocking on 40,000 doors, Mr. Floyd?
It's not going, number one, it's
You're
not
not going to
going
do
to
it in this
happen.
short amount of time. Not by
And
yourself.
you're
Not
talking about,
and
no,
I'm sorry,
it's
I don't
not
mean
going
to
to happen.
keep interrupting you. It's not gonna happen. But and
No,
this is
not
this
going
is
to
the
happen.
thing. Like I want to literally be the person to knock on everybody's door because I want every
It's
voter
not
to
going to
be able
happen.
to it's and I'm
It's
facing
not
that
going to happen.
reality. So now I have to like trust my team to I have to trust my team, which I do because they my team loves me, so I trust them. But it's like, man, it's this a big
You can't
race.
do it. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it, and you will have less than a 10% voter turnout in the primary. You can't do it. You know,
Yeah.
but that's why you have it, because it favored the incumbent.
Right. And then it's raining, Floyd. So then you lose 10 days of knocking because you got 10 days of rain.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
it's
mean,
it's a very interesting situation we find ourselves in. But I'll tell you what, I'm really excited about. I'm still excited about this opportunity, and I think that all of the candidates seem to be kind of excited about this opportunity.
it
Where
is.
is Wade the Fowler? Let me text him because it's 10:01, and I know y'all are getting tired of me because y'all want to hear from him. So let me text him.
Well, this is going to be a very interesting primary when you have 10 people that's running for one particular office, and if you have 10 people running for one office, it lets you know that something that is reference frustration. If
Yeah.
you understand, frustration comes change, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. They're saying that the number 10 people and plus the other council races, I think you're gonna have two primaries. Uh, yeah, that's in October, I believe
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
That you're gonna have two primary as it relates to council, a council seat, because it tells you something as it relates to the community itself,
Right.
that they're seeking a change
Right.
there.
Right. So
And when
Wade
you
just
look
text
at,
back. He said he'll be on in a minute. So we will prepare to get ready to announce him shortly. But you finish your thought.
and when you look at it, you know, when I attended a lot of homegoing services, and something in most of those homegoing services, it say task undone.
Right. Right.
If you understand what I mean now, is that, us being here right now, we left some tasks undone. So there's never a person that complete 100% of the task.
Right.
They are going to be tasks undone. So,
Mm-hmm.
it depends on how you look at it. But we look at, if you want to look at stability, you ask the chairman of the county board of commissioners uh, uh, there, and you can ask me when you start talking about stability. They
Yeah.
voted the two of us out, and we had experience to bring
And brought
revenue,
money back.
and they
And
voted
brought money
us
back.
out when you talk about a stability, as it relates to moving agendas and bringing back resources forward. So sound
Absolutely.
bites, sound bites is what really hurt a lot of us.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and introduce our guest. We have Wade Fowler. He's a former PwC commissioner, a former Fayetteville city councilman, and a business leader. Mr. Fowler is a dedicated public servant and respected business leader in Fayetteville, North Carolina, known for his integrity, fiscal responsibility, and commitment to community development. He served as a commissioner on the Fayetteville PwC Commission, where he brought a strong oversight and strategic vision to the city's public utilities. Mr. Floyd, maybe you might be able to ask him about that conversation we've been having about PwC. He ensured reliable, affordable, and forward thinking, and where energy and water services were considered. Mr. Fowler previously served on the Fayetteville City Council, where he was recognized for his thoughtful approach to governance and his advocacy for transparency, infrastructure improvements, and public safety. His leadership style is marked by a commitment to listening to constituents, making data driven decisions, and fostering collaboration across departments and districts. Mr. Fowler is also a successful restaurateur, and he's an Air Force veteran. He was a fight. I think he flew fighter, fighter. He was a fighter pilot. I don't know how to say it. Yes,
Fighter
yes.
jet.
And he continues to work tirelessly to ensure our community thrives. Mr. Floyd, I'm going to bring on Mr. Fowler. And as I bring him on, I'm going to prepare to exit after I tell him good morning. And I'm going to leave y'all to it. And I'm going to let y'all have your fun. Good morning, Mr. Fowler.
Good morning. Somehow I've lost my screen here for a minute. I was trying to text you to let you know I was trying to get on.
That's okay.
Can
I
you,
see you. We just need
you
you to, uh, we need you to turn your camera back on.
yeah, well, I'm trying to get there now. This is the first time using this thing. So there I
We can
am.
hear
Okay.
we
Got
hear
it.
you very well. There you
There
go.
we go.
So
Okay.
Mr. Fowler, I've just introduced you. I am getting ready to depart this conversation. I'm gonna let y'all have it, and when you're ready for me, Floyd, you send me a text, and I'll be back. Okay.
All right.
All
All
right.
right. Have.
And Mrs. Waddell, thank you for calling me Mr. Fowler.
Listen, Commissioner. I mean, former Commissioner and Councilman Fowler, because once a
Well,
councilman, always a councilman.
well, I'm also once again a commissioner starting next month.
With the PWC?
No, with ABC.
Oh, congratulations. High five. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead
All
and get out of here, and you guys have a good time.
right. See ya.
Good morning. Good morning, Wayne. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Elmer. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Before we before we brought you on, we talked about this is a non-partisan race, the city council, and
Yep.
also we can talk about the senatorial races that we're going to have in 26 there. But the council race is non-partisan, and also about a decision that was made yesterday by the uh, Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. So the field is open, and I expressed to the person that you are a Democrat and I am a Republican, and we could have a non-threatening conversation this morning.
Wait a minute. You're saying I'm a Democrat and you're a Republican? Is that what you
No,
said?
I am a Democrat. No, I am a Democrat, and you are a
Yeah.
Republican. So we can have a live conversation, and we still are going to be friends at the end of the day.
You know something? I was just talking with somebody this morning about, talking with you, and I was around a bunch of Republicans. Okay. Just to tell you, and I said how I was looking forward to it. I said, because you were one of the people that I always enjoyed. That I told people I can deal with people who are, quote, either Democrat or liberal and Republican and conservative, however you want to look at it, but somebody that truly cares and have an honest conversation, and you can differ about a little bit of stuff, but you still feel like both of you are trying to do what's the best thing for the country or for the county or whatever. And I've always thought that about you, Elmer, because there are a number of things that you and I agree on, and there are a number
Yeah,
of things we disagree on. But
yeah,
guess what? I
we
I
still
tr-
have
I trust you implicitly because I think you're an honest man who does what he thinks is right, not for
well.
political gain or for anything like that. And that's the way I've always tried to be.
Well, that's that. I mean, that's why when I looked at the council race, and we can start with the council race to this
Hmm.
morning. When I looked at the council race, and I see 10 people filing for mayor, and that's something unusual. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts about that?
Well, I think you had so many filed because they thought that the incumbent mayor wasn't running. I mean,
Well,
incumbency really deters a lot of people.
yes,
And
that's
so
true.
had the mayor said from the beginning that he was going to run for reelection, I think you might have seen 4 or 5 people running, maybe.
Mhm.
I think Mario Benavente would have run no matter what.
Yes.
I'm not sure about some of the others.
Well, I think that when you look at it, I'm not one that's critical of the mayor. Everyone has a right to file and run for
Oh,
office.
absolutely.
Everyone. The but comes in that is when you say to people that's your word. When you say to
Yeah.
people that I'm not going to run and I want to spend more time with my family, uh, and then at the last hour, you change. Please understand, Wade, you have a right to file that. That's your right.
Oh
But
yeah.
when you do that, you have to look at what did I say prior to that.
Yep.
What did I say to the people prior to that? And when
Yep.
you look at it, I don't think when you look at it from a standpoint of view, you have Courtney that filed, also, and
Yeah.
she filed at the last minute,
Yeah.
and then you have what you have three council members
3 council members.
that it gonna be with that change. It may be a change as it relates to the council. So, as a mayor in this race, you have to look at how can I unite the council to get 6 votes. And what people don't
Yeah.
realize, the mayor is just the chair per se over
Yeah.
a committee. I mean,
Yeah.
he can't do
Yeah.
anything without 6.
That's right. The mayor's, the way I look at it, people forget about this. The mayor's vote doesn't count any more than anybody else's on the council. Just that the mayor gets to set the agenda. I mean,
That's it.
and honestly, I mean, so that's, I mean, I think that we'll get into this a little bit later. Some things people need to think about in this election, but and it not just about the mayor coming back in and all that stuff, but some of the stuff that's going on, honestly, the council should be held responsible for, and has not been. So,
well, that's the council. I don't, as a council and as a community, the mayor, yes, set the agenda. He sets the agenda along with the city manager, and then he presides over the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Although his thoughts are included in there, but what you have to do is get 6. But you can't dictate. You can't dictate to the other members about how you wish to see things going forward. That's not.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I will tell you though, Elmer, one thing, and I realize this, but I would much prefer, rather than counting to 6, try to get to somewhere around 8 at least. In other words, build enough consensus. You got about 8, because I was on a council where the mayor counted to 6. Okay.
Yes.
And it bit him in the rear end.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
But that was the first Parks and Recreation bond.
Yes.
And the mayor had counted to 6. And I remember on the night that we were going to take the vote, I asked the mayor, can't we table this for 1 more month and see if we can work a few things out where we can at least get to 8 or 9, maybe even 10, so that we're fully on board with this. But he only needed 6, and he had his 6. So we took the vote, and the vote went in his favor. But that Parks and Recs bond thing required extra steps. And in the meantime, one of his 6 wanted something done, and the mayor didn't want to go along with it. And so the next step that came up to make it go forward, now the mayor didn't have 6. And it came back to bite him, because guess what? We couldn't move forward because that technical step that needed to go towards getting the bonds done, everything was voted down. So that's why, when we're talking about getting some unity in the council, I think you need to get a bigger majority.
Well, that's true. I mean, I don't tend to, and the greater the number, the better your chances are. I agree with you on that. But
well, and I think it also, but I also think it more represents what the community wants, because you've got more of the representatives of the different parts of the community saying, yeah, this is a good thing.
But that's true also. But many times we don't, as many elected officials, many do not look at the wishes of the people that voted for them to be where they are. Some kind of way, we think that we got to follow whoever it is, the mayor or the governor, that we had to change our district thoughts to whatever that person that's governing thought. But our allegiance, as I look at it first, is to our constituents, whether it's a county or whether it's a state, it's not to the governor, but it's to your constituents that ask you to work with them and serve them in their absence. They can't do it, so they send you.
Yep. Well, and I think what's critical to that is that whoever's running for office, that it's a bit of the let your yes be yes or your no be no, but it's also be truthful about what you believe needs to be done, because I do believe that it's considered a leadership position if you're elected there to be a community leader. But what you have to do is be honest with the community about what you think needs to be done. That's the right thing to do, and let them know that up front, so that if they vote for you, that they will expect that that's what you'll do, as opposed to saying, let me think, what they want to hear. But so I'm going to just tell them what they want to hear, even though that's not what I think is the right thing to do.
Sound bites, right?
I went
about sound bites.
So what?
You're talking about sound bites.
Yeah. And so when I ran for council, I told people exactly what I thought needed to be done. And if this is what you think needs to be done, vote for me. If you don't vote for me, because this is what I'm going to do, Well, and so that way I felt like when I got elected, I felt like that what I was doing that I thought was best really was representing the people, because I told them what I really believed.
Well, how I made decision as a member of the General Assembly, I made decision on 3 C's. One was my constituents, my conscience, and then my caucus. I didn't put my caucus in front of my constituents.
Yeah.
Because very simple, my caucus didn't vote for me.
Yeah, and guess what? the truth of politics is, when you do that, your caucus says, "Well, let's see how we can get rid of this guy."
Well, that's what they did. And if you don't believe that, you ask the chairman of the County Board of Commissioners, and you can ask me and see, what they think of you when you do that. The first thing coming to their mind is, we're gonna primary him or her, or find somebody to run against him or her. But that's what we look at. And when we look at the council race, I think that we have to look at how can we improve. We talked about this before you came on. How can we improve our infrastructure? So that's one of the issues. We got to look at that for long range planning. And how can we do that?
Well, I'll tell you, Elmer, the biggest part of that is hiring people, first of all, to know where they stand on it. Look at it, who you're going to vote for, where they stand on this. But the other thing is that they are willing to hold the city manager accountable for getting it done. And I'll explain that too. But when I was on the council, we had our strategic planning session, and we put as I think it was our number 2 priority. Okay. Our number 2 priority had to do with upgrading our road system, because you're supposed to be on about a 20-year repaving situation. And we were at the point where our budget was and the way it was set, our city streets schedule, we were probably on a 30-year. And so we put a priority to put funds in to move us up at least 5 years. So it'd be at 25, even though we'd like to be at 20, we thought it was reasonable to go to 25. And so we put that as our priority. We allocated funds for it, and the city manager didn't do it. And I'm trying to hold them accountable, but the rest of the people were not trying to hold them accountable. You've got to hold, if you're the body and you set the what you think the city needs to do, you're setting the policy, you're setting the outlook for what it's supposed to do. The manager's supposed to carry that out. The manager we had at that time decided he was more important than the council, and he had things he wanted to do. And that's what he was putting forward.
Wade, that's, the council is responsible for 2 employees, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
The city attorney and the city manager.
That's right.
And then once the council set the agenda, then it's the city manager responsibility. It's called his leaders together and let the leaders bring in suggestions and recommendations of how we can meet these targets set by the council within
Yep.
a reasonable period,
Yep.
of time. And every meeting is a follow-up of what the council agenda and what the council goals set to see if we, we are reaching those goals. So
Yeah.
again, we like you mentioned, I've been around and I hear all the time is that when I go to zoning meetings and this type thing, it always say is that this is part of the city future use plan. But I don't see future use plan consisting of infrastructure. One of the most important boards that's overlooked here in the city of Fayetteville is the Fayetteville Metropolitan Planning Organization,
Yep.
which has a direct effect on infrastructure as it relates to the city of Fayetteville and the county of Cumberland.
Yep.
But we overlook them in the inclusion of all of our infrastructure planning.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you the other thing, and this is, a big part of our infrastructure planning also has to deal with PwC.
Yes.
And working in concert. I'll give you an example of back when I was on the PwC commission, and met with the economic development coordinator for the area, but that was just to find out and say, let me know. I was chairman at the time. Let me know what are the most likely spots for us to have growth that requires certain infrastructure from PwC. And what I'd like to do is get that infrastructure in there so that it's ready to go, instead of having to say, well, we can bring it out here, because people that want to come here, business wise, are not wanting to wait until you've got it in. They want it in. And I'll give you an example of that. I think there was out in Gastonia, they put in a technology park, and we had talked about doing that in Fayetteville. We had the one out on Cedar Creek Road that's been out there empty forever. And in Gastonia, the city manager there, because the city council told them they wanted them to do it, managed to get in before they had the first business in, had fiber in, had the right kind of power requirements in, the right sewer and water type stuff that was necessary that was in there. And guess what? Their park got filled up. And we were sitting here with one that was completely empty. And I think to this day, we only have one industry out there. And it's because people didn't plan. Now that just, if you want to grow, you've got to have the stuff that needs to be done. And another one is streets. The streets have to look good. And back when the Big Bang happened, we're going way back. And this is again where who you have locally makes a big difference. The city worked with PwC, and PwC said, look, when we're having to take sewer out there, it's going to cost money to do street overlay. So we're going to put permanent patches in where we put in the sewer. Well, the thing about it is permanent patches, even at their best, still can sink in a little bit, and you got a zigzag looking pattern all over your road and everything else. And the city said, well, what we'll do the overlay, and made an agreement with PwC. PwC said, I'll tell you what, this is how much it costs for a permanent patch. If you're going to do an overlay, we will do a temporary patch, which costs less money, and we'll credit the extra money for the permanent patch towards your overlay, towards you doing the overlay. The city said, that's great, we'll do that. Well, guess what?
I know.
The city never came up with one single overlay. And so I went to the board, I went to the PwC board and said, look, guys, these are our customers. We need to do this. And I found out how much it would cost extra for us to do the overlay instead of having the city pay for it. Okay. Because we're supposed to look out for the city's interests. And found out how much it was, and went to I went to about 5 different civic organizations meetings and said, look, if we do this, it's going to run our sewer rates up a little bit. It might be like $1 a month more. Would you rather pay the $1 a month more or have patchwork roads? And they said, we'd like to have the dollar more. And so we decided, city, forget about it. We'll just do overlays. But that's, again, remembering that back, the city we said we wanted to update how fast we wanted to get the roads repaved, and we're still dealing with it. And so now the utility took over. So that's what I'm saying. Working the utility and the city together can help with a lot of this stuff, but too often it's an adversarial position.
Well, let me ask you another question. Where you was on the PWC for a number of time.
Yeah. 8.5 years.
Now, if an organization come to you and say that they're going to pay you $720 something million to manage your PWC, what would your thought be if they come and tell you that they're going to pay you $700 and somewhat million to manage a facility? Okay, that's number one.
Mm-hmm.
But we are not going to increase. We are going to maintain it at a non-profit. What would your thought be on that?
Well, that happened while I was on the commission.
I know, because before you answer that, the Cumberland County delegation really rewrote PWC charter to give PWC a little bit more flexibility. So, I was part of that drafting to change that charter,
Mm-hmm.
so that PWC can have that. But what would your thought be that give you, that as you look at that, and you was on the PWC commission at that time?
What we looked at was the long term. PWC looks in a lot longer terms than the city does, and what that was approached was what's called a concession agreement. Okay, and generally on those concession agreements, they're trying to squeeze out as much money as they can. They're there to make money. Don't think anything else. They're there to make money. And they structure it such that, and this was my concern, and it was the concern of the entire commission, was that at the end of this 30-year concession agreement, that in order for them to make what they needed to make within the guidelines of what they said they were going to do, would mean that they would be making very few capital improvements in the utility. And at the end of 30 years, if you're not keeping up with the capital improvements that need to be made, you're looking at significant costs to get it up to speed. And our estimates were it could cost as much as $1 billion if the capital improvements were not kept up over that time period, and it would have just ruined the utility, and it was not a good deal. At that same time, though, if someone had wanted to pay the city to buy the utility, okay, so they're going to buy the utility from the city, because what you have to understand is all of the physical assets of the utility are in the name of the city.
Yes.
It's just that the commission is an independent authority who runs it, okay, and has to keep in mind the needs of the city. But so one of those needs is to have a utility that functions well. And if you're doing it under concession, the likelihood is it's not going to function well. It's eventually going to start to break down because they're not putting the capital investment in. If somebody's going to buy it, you get the full value of the utility, then that might be something that could be set up, and particularly if it got set up in some form of a trust that the political members of the council couldn't spend it all real quick, the other money available. That's something I would have considered. I would have seen that as a possible good deal, but not a concession deal.
Well, let me ask you, after the 30 years, based upon what you just said,
yeah,
and then that company would sell it back to the city with also the debt. Do you think the city will be able to buy, hypothetically, in 30 years, be able to buy it back?
Well, it wouldn't be that on a concession, it wouldn't be that the city had to buy it back. The city would have the opportunity to extend the concession, or, have them drop out and go back to what we had. But what I'm saying is, you're looking at our estimates, roughly $1 billion or more to
But
really
that's
pull
what they
that off.
wanted to do. But that's what they wanted to do after 30 years. You know, now that could been part of that arrangement. But after 30
Yeah.
years, they want the city to buy PwC back. You know, that's how we saw it, and we saw it
Yeah.
from a standpoint of view. Nowhere in the world that the city could
Yeah.
buy it back at $1 billion. You know, given what has transpired, I only got 700 million, and you
Yeah.
want me to turn back around and buy it back 30 years, and then again I got to make all of the, like you said, all of the necessary updates because you know I didn't do it. I just collected the profit. But anyway, but
Well, the
they
other
have
thing, the other thing that disturbed me about it was that they didn't come to the utility. They didn't come to the
well,
utility. They went to the mayor, and that was it. And I'm like, dude, do y'all understand something here? There's no way you can make this happen if you don't come to us, and they didn't come to us. So that told me there was something that I didn't like about it.
Well, the way in which the charter is written, you know, it's PwC, and then the city, though the access is in the city, was that the way the court made that ruling that gave PwC that, you know, changed the scope of PwC. So, but wait, as we exit, you know, as we look at this election coming up in primary and I think in October in election, I think that the field is a large field, but if those candidates doesn't look at the issues and address the issue, not you know, who is the sitting mayor, whether he filed for re-election or not, they must home in on what they see and not just look at him and gear their campaign towards him instead of the other 9.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too, Elmer. You were talking about infrastructure and all that, and this is where you hold the entire council responsible. Okay, we've had several fiascos for infrastructure that are very expensive. Take, for example, the things in Parks and Rec, where you had they're supposed to, you know, we're supposed to have a tennis center open right now, right?
Well, wait, let me ask you a question that way. No, hold a minute. Wait, I agree with you. But the person that the company that that was supposed to build this center, as you mentioned, I tried to find some information, and the first thing that I found with him or that organization was the city of Fayetteville. By contract, they supposed to look at other projects that was supposed to be done by this contractor.
Yep.
You know, so I'm sorry to cut you off, but you were talking about, but I had to interject that. That was the first project. He just dropped out of the cloud.
Well, and not only that, he's supposed to be bonded, right? Guess who? So. Wait a minute. Guess who owned the bonding company? Well, he did.
Somebody. Now wait. Now they were just in the same location.
No. So yeah. So I mean, who didn't do their homework?
Well, so that goes with the manager, and it goes with the staff that's supposed to look at these things prior to giving it to the manager that makes sure that everything is in order.
Yeah. So but also that goes to the policymakers who are supposed to be overseeing this and saying somebody's got to be held accountable. Nobody's been held accountable. Also, Fire Station 4 on Bragg Boulevard.
Well, you know, it's only going to take $1 million plus to finish it. That's all it's going to take. Wait.
I know, but what I'm saying, here's the point. Who's holding anybody responsible? And it's up to the community to hold the decision makers responsible.
You are correct. You are correct. When you look at now, one thing I give PwC credit for, whatever the bid was for that project, PwC didn't have any cost overrun. I give y'all credit for that.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is they do their homework and they actually bid it out properly.
Yes.
And people get upset sometimes about that, but we have to do it. You had to be done properly.
Yes. And I agree with you. But wait, you know, In this upcoming election, before we bring Teach back on to close us out, what are your thoughts in this upcoming election? What in
Well,
closing out?
I think you need to look for integrity. And I don't mind. I mean, I'll say this right now. I am wholeheartedly behind Tisha for this because she is as honest as the day is long. At least I've never seen any reason to find otherwise. She's a principled person who also, I think, believes in the idea, like I do, that, hey, we need to get more than just 6. We need to build some real unity or at least agreement on how things should be done. And the other thing is you need to have people that can actually cast a little bit of a vision. I think too often we stick with things that are done the way they've always been done, and do not really look ahead on stuff. I think that, we are still stuck in a 20th century mindset when we're well into the, a quarter of the way into the 21st century. And we're not looking into things that need to be looked at ahead of time. I'll give you a couple of things. We need to be looking at cryptocurrency and how does that fit into our budget? Because that's coming. Whether we like it or not, whether we understand it or not, we are actually behind right now in that because we haven't even thought about it. And if you haven't thought about it, figured out, then you're wrong. The other thing is looking at how technology can help us, AI for one thing. But the other thing is, how do we tie? This has always been something I've been very interested in. Really, one of the reasons why I was trying way back in the Parks and Rec thing is to say, let's think about Parks and Rec for our youth as more than just, basketball gyms and stuff like that. What about doing something that ties in technology with what we have in our rec centers? One that could be directed towards technology and the arts together. So in other words, looking for things, looking forward to future. And then the other one is, how do we take spaces that we have are not being used well right now and turn them into something that people would want to come from out of town to go to? Because that brings tax money in from people from outside the community. It helps build our revenue base for us to do other things. And I think there's some clever things we can do there. So I think people need to be looking for somebody that's willing to look ahead and say, how can we do some things differently that will actually take advantage of what's coming our way, whether we want it or not, particularly with technology and with the new ways that financing is being done.
Well, Wade, thank you so much for coming on and share with me, how the political landscape lit, but we didn't get a chance to talk about the governor race and I'm sorry, the U.S. Senate race. So maybe next time we'll have time to discuss
Sure.
that. And thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
Hey, everybody, I'm
Jeez.
back. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Thank you, Commissioner Fowler, for coming on. You'll have to check out the comments. People are like rooting for you in the comments. Kind of glad you didn't run for mayor because you'd probably have it in the bag. So
I don't think so. If I ran for mayor, I'd be divorced. My wife would say, I mean, you've done enough of this stuff.
I understand. Please tell her I said good morning, and we will probably most certainly be inviting you back again. Thank you, Mr. Fowler.
It's my pleasure. Ms.
Okay,
Waddell.
sir. Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.
Okay, Mr. Floyd. So you guys have had to have your conversation. I did catch the tail end of that because I came back because I know you said be back by a certain time. So I did hear Mr. Fowler say glowing things about me, and I certainly appreciate that. And I'd like to earn everybody's support, Mr. Floyd. I'm not taking anything for granted. You guys seem to have had a very good conversation. I see that we've got at least 23 comments over here on the side. And seems like y'all had a ball listening to Wade and Floyd. So maybe I just need to let y'all do the podcast.
No. It's good to have discussion with person of a different party and a different mindset. When
Absolutely.
that you can discuss things and leave and still have a conversation the next day. And
Absolutely.
that's what
It's interesting you say that, Mr. Floyd, because as a part of National Night Out, one of the invitations I received came from Laura Musler, who actually ran for District 2. She came to our forum. She is a Republican. Now, you don't know people's affiliation when you meet them because you don't. Nobody walks around with a sticker on their forehead, right? So she had invited me to come to her home. She said she was having a gathering. And when I got there, she was having a gathering of, I guess, the Republicans in our community. And it was such a nice time to go in and just kind of meet people. And Mr. Floyd, to hear some of the conversations that were being had in this room, they mirrored a lot of the conversations that are being had by people of other political affiliations. And I got to meet this lady. Her name was Miss Pruitt, and Miss Pruitt was just a hardworking woman. She was, probably in her 70s, and she had me so tickled. She gave me a recipe for cabbage fritters, but I mean, the whole experience is exactly what you just identified. Being able to talk to people from different backgrounds, of different political registrations, and still walk away and not feel compromised and not feel like you have an enemy in anybody, because we all live here.
Well, having said that, could you close us out?
Don't you rushing me? I can close this out. You got to remember, I didn't get to do the show today. Okay, so Mr. Floyd, what would you like for your final words to be?
My dog, my dog, my dog. If he bring it, he'll carry it. And please do not listen to sound bites. I can say to you that a person talked with someone and said that the Martin Luther King Park, somebody should not be talking about it. And that's the same person that didn't want to give him any money. So have a good week too.
Well, Mr. Floyd, I'll say the same thing I've been saying. There's no justice apart from righteousness. If you want justice, you got to seek righteousness. And with that being said, like, share, subscribe, and follow. Mr. Floyd then told me we gotta go. So we will we will catch you on the next episode.
All right, T. Thank you.